Welcome back everyone to this new video. Today I will show you how you can beat the chess.com beginner bots. I will start off with Martin and then I will continue with higher rated bots. But before we get into the video, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It helps me a lot. And also I left the link to my Twitch channel in the comments. Having said that, let's get to the video. So we will start with playing Martin. As you know, Martin is the most famous chess.com bot. It is rated 250, and we will play with black pieces against him, and he starts with move d4. Now, many beginners are taught to put a pawn in the center in the opening, and that's what you should do. So I will do that. I will not play necessarily the best moves, but I will play the moves that I think will teach you the most things. He develops a knight, which is a good thing, and now you can just develop the knight as well. He plays pawn to e3, trying to develop the bishop, which is a really good move. Now, before you put the pawn on e6 like he did, you can think about developing this bishop and then closing the structure. So right now I'm thinking move bishop to g4 is a really good move because it pins the knight to the queen. Alright, he attacks our bishop. Now, as I always say, if you don't have a reason to take a knight with a bishop, don't do it. Just slide back with a bishop. Now we're gonna play. Right. This is a bad move because this kind of checks, if they can be blocked with a pawn, they are useless because now they have to move again. And now we can play e6, bishop e7, and castle. And now we are very solid. Now, this is not a really good move because it undevelops the knight. It discovers the bishop. Whenever a piece moves, you have to ask yourself, what does it do? I mean, in this case, the knight moves back and the bishop opens up. So you have to think about other pieces and how they interact with the board, right? Now, I was thinking just slide back because I don't want to trade and bring the knight back into the game. We can just slide back to g6. Now we're going to play bishop to e7 or bishop to e6. They are both good moves. Bishop to d6 is a slight better move, I believe, because it puts bishop on a more active square. Bishop to f3, this move does nothing. I can just castle. Alright, opponent played a4, which is an absolute trash move because it doesn't do anything. In the opening, as I always say, you should try to put a pawn in the center and then develop your pieces. Knight first, and then bishops, and then castle. In this case, my opponent is not castle, and as a general rule of thumb, when your opponent is not castle and you are, you can think about strike in the center with the pawn. In this case, move e5 looks really good because we open up the center and the king is still there. My opponent is attacking me on the queen side, but this is not a very good way of playing chess. I can play rook e8, just putting the rook on the same file of the king. I can play this, but then this doesn't do anything. All right, this is a very complicated move to see because as a beginner, you don't really have a lot of awareness of the board. Seeing that this bishop is seeing all the way to the other side of the board is kind of difficult. Now, this move is a blunder because it just blunders the knight, but it's really difficult to see as a beginner. But I will play this move nonetheless. And although it is a difficult move to see, this is not a difficult move to see. When you play chess as a beginner, you have to play, in my opinion, slower chess, like 10 minutes game, 15-minute game, because you have to take the time to see where the pieces can move and what are they seeing? In this case, the bishop was seeing the knight, and it takes time as a beginner to spot that. All right, it's not easy. Now we can fulfill the here. We can take, we can leave this here, and it doesn't really matter. All right, I will take it because we can, right? He cannot take with this because otherwise he loses his king. All right, now we are two pieces up. When you are two pieces up, the best way to win the position is to simplify. In this case, you have to look for ways in which you can trade as many pieces as you can. For example, I will try to uh, I will try to attack this pawn. All right, he cannot push it forward. I believe he cannot push it forward. We are attacking the pawn. All right, in this case, I cannot take this. All right, because it's defended twice. But what I can do is I can bring the knight back and then put it to a more active square. That I can do. Alright, this is blunder because I just do this. And yeah, there is that move, but that move doesn't do anything because I take and I protect. Alright, now I can take this, right, and pin the rook to the king. Now, I could have taken with the bishop, but then maybe I would have lost this, but then this is check, so alright, I can take this actually because this is pinned. It's a really common tactic. Now, this is a what is called continuity. All right, in this case, the queen was doing something, was fulfilling a role in the position. It was guarding the rook. Now that the queen moves, it doesn't guard the rook anymore, so we can take this with check. And now he has to think, all right, um, we have to find ways to trade the queens. It is the easiest way to win this position. I can play this and then give this check. And even though, yes, now this is the easiest ways to win is to trade the queens, force the queen trade, then win all the other pieces that your opponent has, and then make another queen. Cut the king off. All right, my opponent is pushing. We can just take that. Cut the opponent king off in this way and just push the pawns. Alright, push the pawns. If my opponent attacks the pawn, alright, my opponent hangs an eye, and we just push, alright? And we promote and we take all of his pieces and we try to checkmate. Now, checkmating in chess is really difficult, alright? You have to train on mating motifs, alright? Because chess is a game of pattern recognition. Now, the easiest ways to win, I believe, is to take this and then take the rook. Chess is a game of pattern recognition, so I recommend you watching my video um, on checkmating motives, where I break down the the main checkmating motives, so you can train. All right, I can play. All right, how to checkmate? I will show you how to ladder mate your opponent. Ladder mate is a very common chess mating pattern, is where you bring your pieces diagonally, either two rooks or a queen and a rook, and you deliver checkmate with with the rooks and or the queens, just cutting out cutting off the king diagonally or vertically. This works, I mean, diagonally, horizontally or vertically. In this case, this is checkmate, and this is called the ladder mate. All right, let's play against another bot. Next, I will play against Oliver. Oliver is rated 550. We are playing with black pieces once again. Oliver plays e4. Against e4, I recommend playing the Scandinavian defense, which is a really simple, opening play. All right, opponent plays d3, which is not the most accurate move in general. Well, when your opponent leaves this pawn here, you should take it. Every time this is here, just take it. Now, as I said earlier, one thing you need to keep in mind is that you always have to look where your pieces sit. In this case, my queen sees all the other side of the board, and we can take it. Now, as I always say, develop the knight first. Put a pawn in the center if you can. Develop the other knight. Develop the bishop, and then castle. You also can take free stuff if your opponent leaves it hanging. In this case, my opponent left the e4 pawn hanging, so we can just take that, and we can take this as well. Although this is a different story, because if we take that, our opponent has the move f3 forking. This is another tactical pattern which you have to get used to seeing. All right, opponent attacks our knight, the strategic threat. We can move the knight, and then if they kick it out even further, we can play knight here. So that's nothing we need to worry about. If g5, we put the knight here, we attack the bishop. We don't need to worry. We can take the bishop, and we can castle. So we are a pawn up. Our opponent's king is in the center. Now we are in the next phase of the game, which is the middle game. In the middle game, if your opponent's king is in the center for some reason, you can look for ways to attack it. In this case, this check looks good because we bring a piece to the center with a tempo winning move. We can give this check as well, then my opponent blocks, so I can play rook to d8, just bringing the rook to the party. My opponent sacrifices the bishop. You don't need to worry about these sacrifices because they're not really something you need to be worried about. All right. In this case, this move is good because it's a double check. And now probably there is mate somewhere. I mean, I can play this check. Our opponent has to go here. Check, and my opponent escapes. No. No, I can go here. Um, what we do? What do we do? I mean, I can bring the knight. Just when you're in doubt, bring as many pieces as you can. I will keep my bishop on this diagonal, and I'm threatening this. Alright, my opponent doesn't see it. I will give this check and win this rook. This is check. And now, this is mate. Alright, we beat Oliver. And now, to the next game. Alright, now we are playing Karim with white pieces. And this is the higher rated bot in the beginner section. And we will try to beat him. We can play the move e4. Hey, salam alaikum me. Alright, this move is really bad. In general, in the openings, you shouldn't move your f pawn because that weakens your king. Alright? This is a reverse king's gambit, and it's really bad because your opponent king is so weak. And you can already exploit that with a move like queen to h5 check. And they cannot play g6 because you will take. That's the whole point. They play g6, you just take. So now I'm showing you how you can defeat dumb stuff in the opening. All right, in this case, the move g7 check just wins. Look, this move just wins because the king has to go up. And now I will promote. Look at this, there is a queen on the board. All right, what's the fastest way to win? I can, man, I don't know what I can do actually. All right, just bring your piece out of danger. This doesn't look like a good move at all. I can just play this and target this. All right, we, c- we can we can take this and then this. All right, my opponent uh, doesn't know what he's doing. We can win all the pieces. This is not a very instructive game. All right, my opponent blundered. I mean, Martin played better than this. What is happening? I mean, is Martin underrated or what? I can take it. Again, in general, when you're up material, you should try to look for ways in which you can trade as many pieces as possible. In this case, I have mate on the board. Look at this. This is a I don't remember what it's called, but this is a very common mate pattern. Is when the king is blocked by two pieces, in this case two pawns, and you can deliver checkmate with the queen here, because these two are blocking the king escapes squares, and these squares are all covered by the queen, so this is checkmate, a very common mating pattern. All right, this was the last game. What we've learned is chess is a game of tactical pattern recognition, so you have to train to spot that quicker. That is the whole point of training in chess. You are able to spot patterns quicker. So that is what you should focus on. And another thing is, yeah, general things about a game of chess. And yeah, I hope you liked the video. And as always, see you in the next one.